Hey, it's Greg Grunberg, Snap Wexley, and you are listening to Sixth Scale Scavengers.
All right, Scavengers. I don't have a good intro planned. It's gonna be a weird episode, guys. But anyways, welcome to Sixth Scale Scavengers, episode 73. I'm your host, Bryan Fontaine, joined maybe for the last time with my good friends Chris Letty and TC. As the episode title states, all good things must come to an end. And it's a little bittersweet show. I mean, I'll be honest, guys. If anybody's been tuning in for any length of time, probably won't be terribly shocked to hear some of the news that we have to share. But figured we'd lead the show off with a couple of our show announcements. What's going to be happening in the short and near term, and then we don't really know long term at this point, but. So on his 52nd episode with the Sixth Scale Scavengers, we're going to, TC will be, this will be his last episode with Chris and I. And thought I'd be prepared for this a little bit better. It's just it's hard. Like, I completely agree with it. Like I said, most people that know, TC, your focus has been shifting to other avenues of collecting, and the enthusiasm and the fire for hot toys, although obviously you still think they're a fantastic product, it's just the desire right there hasn't been as strong. And when you have a whole show that's dedicated to talking about these things, it's
yeah, and you never want to just go through, like, for a couple of things. You never just want to go through with something just to go through the motions. Mm-hmm. Talking with you guys is amazing. It's really fun. It's great to have chats before, during, and after the show. You guys are great friends. It's just, like you said, when you don't want to go through the motions. Like, the show's all hot toys, and I don't have the energy to devote to them, because it does take it, to me, like when I collect something, it takes a lot of energy, and you don't just go out. I can't do it passively. So like when I get involved with something, I turn my focus to it. So it's hard for me to do both, but I really want to explore some other things, like you said, Bryan, and I just don't want to do it halfway. I want to be able to, like before, I would search constantly for deals. I want to be able to give that to the viewers and give, like, be authentic. And it was starting to wane, and that's kind of where I kind of felt this might be a good time to take a step back. And another show is you guys have your own things you're dealing with as well, and gonna likely take a month break or so to reevaluate. So I think now is the time. You never want to just carry on too long. You always want to kind of go out on top, kind of thing. Seinfeld season 9. You don't want Seinfeld season 10.
No.
So just that's kind of where it is. But this has been awesome, and you can't replace it. So it's a little bit difficult, but at the same time, I know I just want to explore other things.
For sure. I mean, Chris, it's been so long. Like I said, the 52nd episode with TC, it's hard to remember it before TC. And I listened back to, I think it was episode 24 was the first one. That it was either 23 or 24 was the guest. And then the one right after that. I remember we talked about the Mark L. And it was just, I was laughing at how we bungled the announcement of him coming in, but like we just instantly knew we had the chemistry with TC. We did the guest spot, and we knew instantly that the three of us just like I said, had good chemistry, and we thought it would be a good thing. I mean, to do this show for 52 episodes, all the three of us together, never missing one. We've all been, together. And TC said the most important thing, like, TC's not going anywhere. He may not be on the show, but he's still going to be around. And I mean, you guys have become two of my closest friends. I mean, TC, you're a lifelong friend now. I talk to you probably more than I talk to my wife. And she's not home right now to hear that. Yeah. So, but I mean, Chris, it's just, yeah, but the other part of what TC said there is coming up on our fourth year. This July would be the start of year 4 of the Sixth Scale Scavengers. And like I said, it's hard to imagine what it was like before TC. And like TC said, even your interest in my interest, it's still there, but I feel like we're the curmudgeons of the community now. Like, we're the old guys that when we started this whole thing, we were the only bi-weekly podcast out there at the time before we hit YouTube that was covering news, and we were trying to give people, help with collecting, because we were learning at the same time too. Yeah. And there's so many, like, I don't want to even name any names because I would forget to name a few of them, but you guys that are here now or tuning in, you know who you are. You've been on this show before. We've been on your shows. Yeah. There's just so much content out there that we never want it to feel like a competition. I mean, we have a friendly competition with Zach and Dean over at Collecting Weekly, but like, I think we're going to take some time to kind of really evaluate like why we're doing this, and then let alone, what the next iteration of the show will be. Will it be episode 74 in July? Will it be, I don't even know. Like, it's hard to know, but I think, Chris, we do. I think we're going to take a little bit of a break. I don't see us doing another episode before July. At this point. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to see TC go. I mean, like, TC's been a part of the Sixth Scale Scavengers community pretty much since the onset. And, we knew early on from the interactions in the group and that sort of thing, that, we are definitely going to have him on as a guest. And then as soon as we ended that episode, Bryan, you and I were like, let's ask him to be, our co-host. And it's been amazing. It's crazy that it's almost 2 full years, since he got going. And then we started YouTube basically right after. And that really got the ball rolling, with the group and the podcast and the show going live and that sort of thing. And I mean, we know TC's going to be, he's still going to be part of the admin team, still, in the group and stuff. He's not abandoning Hot Toys 100%, but, I mean, like, and me too, definitely feeling, taking a step back. You guys notice I haven't been really buying much for quite some time, mostly selling and, really paring down the collection. Still could pare it down more, but, for me, like, I've got, some unexpected family responsibilities that, they're going to take up a lot of the next month or so. And, so it's just take some time, reevaluate, and see what kind of direction Sixth Scale Scavengers goes, going forward. But it's it is a lot of work, and any guest that has been on with us before know, or their own content creator, it takes a lot of effort to come up with the episode topics and getting the photos and coming up with. Luckily, we have our own website that we have a lot of the data that makes it a little bit easier to pull. But I think. I guess I would end this segment before we get back to whatever regular type of show we're going to have is covering some news and stuff TC, you're irreplaceable. I feel bad for the next person that has to come in and fill your shoes. And maybe we need two people to even attempt to come in and fill your shoes. I don't know. Like Chris, you and I haven't even really talked about it at all. And I don't think it's even the time to. And I hope that we're able to find, some people that are maybe even a little bit more motivated than we are, or more enthusiastic, maybe is the right choice of words that I would look for to kind of maybe re-engage our spark and go forward. But we are, this will be the last, it's May 26, 2021. I don't see us doing an episode before July. I'd love to get one in July just to say we start year 4 of the podcast, but we're also not tied to that either if it just doesn't make sense. So
and it's not, we're still going to be, we still have the Facebook group. We're going to be interacting, every time there's a release on there. And then also Brian's going to try to maintain the website, with the checklists and stuff as best as possible, social media and stuff. We're still going to be around. It's just the whole production process definitely needs to just take a little breather, and we look forward to continuing all the great conversations we always have with all the scavengers and everything. But it's kind of a bummer, but I think it's just a much needed reevaluation of what we want to do and that sort of thing.
Yeah, everything has an off season to it. So like the fact that you guys have been doing it for now 3 full years with no break. Granted, it's every 2 weeks, but it's consistently every 2 weeks.
Right.
There's never a gap. So that is pretty good. Usually that's not the case for a lot of content out there. It's once you hit that year and a half, 2 years, it does start. The consistency is very hard to achieve. And, so applaud yourself for that, and much needed break. For all of us.
And we've adapted and we've changed things, over the course of the last 3 years, changing segments, dropping the figure review, doing this and that. And, so, it's kind of along those lines, but, just a little bit more, extensive to to the show format.
Well, sorry to be Debbie Downer for everybody. I'm reading through all the comments here, and needless to say, TC, you will be missed, not only by Chris and I, but to be honest, like I said, the three of us talk multiple times per hour about other things. I'm sure, as I've seen a couple of comments about my hat, sure we could probably start a whole nother podcast just about the about that and our other other focuses and stuff. But anyways, I think we'll kind of go through it again briefly at the end of the show. But I think we'll flip over to news, and we do have a couple figures to talk about. And we'll go through that. We have very brief collection update, and then what we're going to do. And I want people to start thinking about it now that are tuning in live. Is we don't really have a show topic, but I thought it would be kind of cool to. Chris, we were talking right before the episode. Like you and I both are old curmudgeons and have zero memory. But if anybody can think of any of like their favorite moments in particular, or maybe some good advice that maybe we had given at some point, I'd love to kind of hear that, and we'll riff on it. Just a very kind of casual way to send TC off and to thank him for 52 episodes. A lot of podcasts don't even get to 52 episodes.
Did you ever think that you would be a podcaster? And
no, I've before, like, speaking's not really my thing that I do publicly. So no, I didn't. And But now, like, this was originally, it was actually great timing because I switched jobs and I wasn't just strictly, behind the computer. A lot of times now I have to speak, in front of, I don't know, 50 plus people. Now, granted, it's online, but in these meetings, and it was really hard for me. So the fact that I was able to do this was actually really big help. So Bryan, yeah, there's thankful for that because it really did improve my ability to kind of articulate without feeling so nervous. And so that's been a big help. But you never know how long stuff goes, but you kind of get in a groove. And we just got in a groove for so long. And so it doesn't surprise me that it's 52. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
All right. Something that almost took 52 years to finally get released was Rey and Dio from The Rise of Skywalker. MMS 559. Original retail price at Sideshow was $243. Announced November 14th, 2019. So about a month before Rise of Skywalker hit movie theaters, and finally released on May 10th, 2021. 543 days later, which by Hot Toys standards is pretty long. But when I was looking, guys, at when they originally had the estimates, Hot Toys originally thought Q2 to Q3 2021, and Sideshow was, at the time I did this website page last year, which to me seems like it would be fairly accurate. Sideshow was thinking they'd have it in May to June, and if it just released in Hong Kong, we're probably looking at a July, August release, stateside here. So we'll keep our comments about what we think about the sequel trilogy mostly out of this. And Chris, I have to say that this came out better than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I do have this on pre-order with Rey at Underground Figures. It was one that survived the cut. I've got him and Rey and Kylo on the way. Outside of like the seamless arms, which I was worried about then, and I'm a little bit worried about now, Chris. I mean, the head sculpt of Daisy Ridley here came out much better than the prototype.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely came out much better than the prototype. And, there was people comparing it to the previous ones. They put the heads side by side, and not really. When you don't see them together, you're like, oh, well, the first one or Resistance Rey, like, definitely looks better. This one, the detail is so much more refined. I definitely think this is the best Rey head sculpt out of the ones that we've been given. I do have some issues as far as like certain angles. Obviously, lighting can play a huge part in that. I definitely think like her with the helmet on, with the face shield up, I think that looks really good. But there's some things that don't quite click with me. But I mean, the figure overall, I really like this look for her. You've got all the different straps, and you've got the hood and the wristbands, and I think it's a good color contrast. But this is one that I actually never had on pre-order, and I won't be adding to my collection. But I think if you're going to have a definitive Rey to go with a definitive Kylo, I think this one, along with the Rise of Skywalker Kylo, I think those are the two ones to get. And I think she comes with some cool accessories. I really like that training shield, and obviously you got BB-8 and Dio to add to the diorama. So overall package, I think it's a good figure. Obviously we can nitpick a little bit here and there. We are 6 scale Hot Toys collectors, but I like it. What about you, TC?
I think it's okay. I don't think it's the best figure out there. The sculpt, see what Hot Toys does really well now. They always knock it out of the park is the paint work. Mm-hmm. And it's much improved versus that first one.
Yeah.
That I think the side-by-side shots are of the Resistance Rey at the end of the first episode 7. Yeah, but you can tell there's a big difference. They've improved drastically since I think that was released back in like 2017 or something. 2016 5 years of improvements on that process. The sculpt, I don't think is that like, it's like an 8 out of 10 to me. I don't think it's elite.
Yeah. There's something about Dave's face that they
it's
just
tough. I mean, yeah,
capture.
she's super young. It's that female young face. It's just very difficult to capture because there's no imperfections really. So it's just difficult in six scale form. But it's not a bad figure. It doesn't do anything for me when I know, like if I was collecting, I know what's coming and there's some big time figures coming. To me, this one just will get slotted down, because we got, all that Clone Wars stuff's right around the corner. So just be aware.
Bryan, where are you at with this figure?
I'm gonna keep my pre-order. I'm not gonna cancel it. I'm gonna get it in. I'll probably have a pose on my shelf very similar to what we've got on the screen here. Arms at the side, maybe holding the lightsaber. One thing that you mentioned, Chris, with the inclusion of Dio, I think the BB-8 was just from one of the photographers including that. But I like that it does come with what we've dubbed the Skywalker lightsaber, the Leia's lightsaber, which is pretty cool. That was a nice addition. It's one of the things of the movie I didn't really hate. That you mentioned the helmet, but I like the fact that there's the her saber hilt from the end of the movie, which you can now, according to some of our, like the intergalactic arms dealer Mario, Sean Utzi, has reported that you can get those at Galaxy's Edge now.
Yeah, I mean, see, it's those additional accessories that really fill out this release. When you get other figures, not necessarily, the Star Wars ones, but that only have a couple things, a couple hands or whatever. She's got plenty of stuff to mix and match your display with. And, that's what makes it fun. Getting those extra accessories that make sense for the figure.
This might be the pose I'll go with.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm a sucker for her quarterstaff. I just love, I love that inclusion, which, something like this. But again, I'm too wimpy. I probably won't want to have her arm bent for any length of time. So
it's also very, you gotta wear gloves. It's very white figure.
Absolutely. So
don't eat a cheeseburger.
Lotus,
no
if
Cheetos.
You are watching, my friend, Lotus, a great friend of the show, he would highly recommend that you wear white cotton gloves or nitrate gloves when handling this figure. Otherwise, you will most likely stain Daisy's white outfit here. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think a better release than we were expecting from Hot Toys. And like we said, is it perfect? No, but I think it does the trick.
Yeah. Jeddah he said only pose it while eating Doritos. So,
that's,
hey man,
Cooler Ranch. It's okay.
I'd really like to see you do that live, get those Doritos. You might get a sponsorship. Who knows?
Yeah. And obviously Jeddah is one of those out there that is, producing a lot of
so much good stuff,
regular content. It's good to see. I think, although it seems like people are a little sad that we'll be going away for a month or two here. Trust me, guys, there's plenty of other people that will give you your Hot Toys news. You do not need it from a bunch of old curmudgeons such as ourselves. All right. We had it on pretty good authority that we thought that MMS 600 was going to be the Mark 1. And, I think that's one thing, Chris, that I try not to humble brag here too much. We hear a lot of things. We have some really good friends that are in the community, and we get told like some things sometimes, and I would never betray anybody's trust to talk about these things and talk about like these scoops and stuff. It's just never been what we wanted to be. We didn't want to be newsbreakers or anything. Like we're just here to talk about the figures and what we like about them or not. And I still think we're going to get the Mark 1 eventually, but I don't think we're going to get it anytime this year. If anything, it's going to be, I would imagine, probably next year. I just think that they've probably encountered, a lot of issues with trying to make that die cast. Yeah, it's got to be a logistical nightmare to come up with even a prototype for that. So anyways, if you look back at all of the prior big numbers when it comes to Hot Toys, MMS 300 was, I believe, the Mark 45. MMS 400 was the Mark 5. MMS 500 was the Mark 7. And MMS 599 and 600 is the figure that I don't think any of us ever expected to get. And the big middle finger to all of the third-party companies out there that have attempted to make this figure. And as somebody that strongly dislikes third-party figures, I've made no bones about it whatsoever in 73 episodes. We've got the Tony Stark Mark V suit up, which is one of the best scenes in the MCU.
Oh my God, love it.
In Monaco. I mean, I've got the
we just
the Lando hat on.
Race was just there.
Yeah, the race was just there this past weekend. And yeah, there's some things I love about this one, guys. There's some things that we'll talk about, but statistic wise anyways, MMS 599, MMS 600, the standard one, which is the 599, is going to retail for $350. The reason why it's going to do that, because I don't believe there's any die cast on the armor parts. MMS 600, the big tentpole figure, is the 405. That's the deluxe, and I think it has the suitcase and a couple other doodads that make it a little bit more expensive. Announced on May 13th. Sideshow is estimating July to September, and then Hot Toys is estimating, July to September 2022, and Hot Toys is estimating Q3 to Q4. So we've got about a year and a half to wait on this one. Like I said, guys, they could have easily just done the Formula One tracksuit, the Stark racing team.
Yeah.
But they also, Chris, gave us, and I'm throwing it to you first because this is this is your jam. This is your scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing, and Roy's mentioned this too, it looks a little bulky just because the suit armor goes over the top of the tracksuit and maybe isn't as slim as the CGI would leave us to believe in the film.
Yeah, this is what the heck? I never thought they would do anything like this, but this is the type of figure that gets, my Hot Toys juices flowing here. This is I love this scene so much because of that, the whole Monaco racing aspect. The Mark V suit is right up there as one of my favorite suits. And I just love that scene. I know it's Iron Man 2, but I really like that movie. And this is the type of figure that I can see definitely having in my collection. It's funny because now, because I have Whiplash, I have the original release, and now I'm how am I going to make that display? But yeah, I love this figure. There's so much detail. The head sculpt is nuts how good it is. And like Jetta was saying, this blows any third party figure out of the water. The suit, the tailoring, everything looks totally on point. He's even got the different steps of the process with the suitcase here. I love that. It's just all that extra detail that Hot Toys put into this figure. I think, this is, if you're a Marvel fan, if you're a Iron Man collector, a lot of people were, not too happy about this because it's another Tony Stark or Iron Man. This is not just another Tony Stark or Iron Man. This is Hot Toys showing you what they can do from an engineering standpoint, from a detail, paint, just everything. This is an awesome release, and though I haven't pre-ordered it yet, this is definitely one I will be adding to the collection.
So how do the how does the armor stay on? Is it magnets? Is that
Yeah.
Is
I
that-
mean, being the host of this podcast, I probably should have read the description. of the figure.
I'm gonna order it, I swear, but I don't know how it works.
No, but
Um,
this is really cool. You know, I also like Iron Man 2. I don't like if you go back and watch Iron Man 2 now, it ages pretty well, in my opinion. Yeah, Iron Man 1 and 2, and even 3 is not bad. I'd prefer the first two.
yeah.
But I've got two art prints of Iron Man 2 that I love, and I'm not going to be targeting this right upon release, but
Yeah.
you know, 3 years down the line, 2 years after it gets released,
Yeah.
you know, who knows? You never know, but it is cool. Like this one, Mech Test Tony, you know, those are really, they are kind of key figures in the MCU, in my opinion. You know, Tony Stark, to get him outside of the traditional Iron Man, I think is really cool.
Mhm.
So I don't have a problem with this being MMS 600. Obviously, I would have liked Mark 1. I do think it'll come one day, but you know, could this have used the full helmet? Yeah, probably could have. I think Collecting Weekly
Yeah.
mentioned it. Is it expensive? It is. So I'm not rushing to pre-order it,
Yeah.
but it's quality. These are the ones that you like to see. You know, this is where Hot Toys kind of pushes the limit, and it's good to see.
And as we've said before too, as much as people grumble about another Tony Stark, another Iron Man, these are the figures that allow them to make other releases, because these sell well, and that gives them the money to do other things. So whatever the next Iron Man type thing is, whether it's Spider-Man, I don't think the Spider-Man figures have taken off nearly as well as the original Iron Man or the die-cast Iron Man figures have. They'll always have something that makes them their money, and they'll use that to be a little bit more artistic or take some chances with, you know, some other licenses. But yeah, I know for sure. You know, this, I know that I'm probably more with TC. Actually, I now know why the three of us are really good friends, is because I also like Iron Man 2 quite a lot. So I don't think it's nearly as bad as people make it out to be. And I think TC, you're spot on that I think it will continue to age really well. I just love the journey that Tony goes on in the movie itself. So, oh yeah, no, this is great. I don't know. I'm undecided. I've already got the Mark V, and I don't know. I'll have to admit it is really
That's
cool.
the problem, though. The Mark V is
Yeah.
coming out likely in the next few months. I mean, just a guess. I mean, or did the reissue has not
The reissue hasn't come out yet.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, probably the next several months it's coming out. So it is a lot of Mark V's hitting the market in the next few years. So it's, I don't know. It's a lot of money towards the Mark V.
Now I need a cut in half F1 car.
Yeah.
And Raul's saying that Mandalorian is the new Iron Man. He's absolutely correct. So along that line, and the 26th figure to be released under the Mandalorian banner is the Artillery Stormtrooper, the Mustard Stormtrooper, the one that we thought months ago we were going to get because it was on one of those cardboard stand-up things that got leaked before season 2 even hit the airwaves on Disney Plus. But obviously one of the iconic parts of when we get to see Boba Fett again, for the full look at Boba Fett, not just the stinger at the end of chapter 9, but the Artillery Stormtrooper, TMMS 047. Sideshow is charging us $220 for that, announced on May 20th. And it'll be a fairly quick release because it's pretty much a repaint with a couple other accessories and whatnot. So Q1 to Q2 next year, according to Hot Toys, and Sideshow saying January to March. TC, it's basically the Incinerator Trooper with a different backpack and some accessories and a different color paint. the mustard trooper, as we
Yeah.
kind of referred to it.
I mean, it's good. It's not my favorite trooper designs. I prefer the incinerator trooper look. I also like the remnant trooper. But if you missed those, and this is a good one to add, I think they're going to keep doing this with the Mandalorian. They're going to get a lot more versions of troopers, and yeah, it's a cool piece. And it's kind of set the display. So, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like the fact that we get these different trooper designs. I think I mean, there's obviously Elvis and so many of our other scavengers just love troopers, and to get ones that are just different enough to to add something else to a display, I think that's really important. And this is another one of those. It's something that we had never seen before in live action Star Wars, and I think it's a cool figure. But yeah, I've definitely got to, for my Mando plan going forward, I got to wait on some of these. I've got the assault tank trooper, I've got the shore trooper, I've got all these troopers on order and stuff, and it's like I got to figure out what I want to keep. But yeah, I like it. And yeah, we talked so long ago that I thought we would have seen this during the season. Like I thought we were going to get this figure released during the season, but yeah, I mean, price wise, it's pretty much just a little bit more than a regular trooper. And I mean, probably not one you're going to army build unless you want to take off the pauldron and do some customizing and that sort of thing. But it's kind of like a one-off trooper in a display.
So, Chris, a little trivia thing. I don't know if I saw it on Fantha Tracks, I think on Instagram yesterday. Did you see that they repurposed the shoulder pauldrons that they use on some of the Stormtroopers are actually motorcycle chest protectors? And you actually, instead of being on your shoulder, you actually wear it down so that it hangs down, and then the strap goes around your waist. So I can't ever look at them the same now. They showed a picture of a guy in the 70s riding a motorcycle with a shoulder pauldron, covering his chest. But there you go.
Hey, those original costume designers had to come up with whatever they could at the time. But yeah, that's pretty funny.
And here's with the commander here, with the red motorcycle pauldron on there. So anyways, not a bad release. Happy for Stormtrooper collectors for sure. And we got one more figure to talk about. We'll be brief about this one, just because not a lot to offer here, but a very, very early release of the Spider-Man Anti-Ock suit, Dr. Octavius, Dr. Octopus, the deluxe and standard figure here from the Spider-Man PS4 game. This is the suit that he wears. Spoiler alert, I mean, the game came out in 2018. This is the suit he wears at the very end of the game where you're fighting Doc, and it looks cool. Again, same concerns, rinse and repeat, that we've ever talked about having a Spider-Man figure, posability, longevity, how long are you going to be able to keep it in a pose. A very different look at Spider-Man than what we're used to, with different colors. But it came out way early, guys. I mean, the standard
crazy early,
250. The deluxe was 285, and it's got the base with the Doc Ock arms there that you can use. 238 days. It was supposed to come out the beginning of next year, was the Sideshow estimate. So, but again, you can't keep milking a game that came out in 2018 and 2021 either. So, especially when you've got the Miles Morales game, and
that's probably the reason why. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if Miles is on deck, you got to get out. anything else you got left other than that classic suit. Wise move.
Yeah. I mean, this figure, when it was originally announced, it didn't do a ton for me. It still doesn't do a lot for me. I mean, do I think it's cool looking and everything? I think, the design is cool and the base is pretty sweet. I just have zero connection to this version of the suit. But yeah, I mean, it's cool for Spider-Man collectors, video game fans. You can have quite the lineup of Spider-Man suits. The Hall of Spider-Man suits is very. Each one is very unique and colorful. Different color schemes and everything. But yeah, this is. I don't know how well this has been received. I haven't watched any reviews on it, but yeah, I don't. I mean, if it's, this one to me screams like hanging around in stock for a while, but I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I do. I like aesthetically. I think it looks pretty good. I'd probably rank the advanced suit. Sorry, yeah, the advanced suit first out of all these that have been released. I do like the 2099, but this one's probably up there for me. Top 3 or 4 of the ones that have been released so far. But I have no connection either, so it's tough for me to want to buy it. But as far as how it looks, it's got a cool color scheme. I like black and yellow, and the big spider on the front.
Yep, I think so. I mean, obviously, if you collect these, great. If not, I like I said, I don't think the 3 of us are anything that we're kind of even remotely interested on. Looks like we just lost Chris, so hopefully we'll get him back on.
Good riddance.
I didn't even say anything to piss him off this time. So that was that time a couple episodes ago. He just dropped out off us. It's probably because I was saying he was the worst. We are getting some pretty bad storms in New Hampshire right now, so we'll see. We'll kind of hold out. So, anyways, we'll kind of stall before we get to the collection update. It seems like we're seeing some. Not because we don't have a lot of figures on pre-order ourselves. We don't get like a lot of these sideshow emails and announcements that come out, but it does look like we've got Captain Rex going to be delayed. Not terribly surprised. I don't think we're going to see that until stateside in the late fall. It still has to get released in Hong Kong first, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. And then the other thing that kind of caught me off guard a little bit, TC, was the deluxe and standard Mandalorian, because I've had mine in hand since like February, March. And I know there's been a lot of delays. I know David in our group does an awesome job about tracking shipments and whatnot. But seeing an awful lot of our scavengers that, had the figure on pre-order, had paid it off with payment plans and whatnot. The figure showed in stock on Sideshow and people still hadn't had it shipped. I saw a couple people, mention that they had to contact Sideshow support and say, hey, send me my figure. It's in stock and I've paid it off. So I don't know what's going on, if they've got some kind of a warehouse issue or something going on.
Yeah, super odd. You do not want to see that with that figure, especially because I know there's a lot, but it's not one you kind of want to wait around on. I don't have it anymore, but it doesn't mean that it's not an amazing figure. And hopefully that gets resolved. I know Mike from the admin chat was having issues with that. He pre-ordered it, paid it in full, nothing. Yet it's available to the masses. And I don't know, it just seems like a tough one once it is gone to kind of get your hands on. And it has enough unique things where I really wouldn't want to pass on it for like the next version.
Yeah, sure. Chris back with us. Maybe on mute.
Sorry. God.
We thought we
Get
said something. You
Oh.
just kind of like, I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
Yep. Sorry.
Fade to black.
Had to deal. Okay. Yeah. So that was the Beskar Mando situation.
Just talking about how it's in stock on Sideshow and nobody that ordered it has been able to,
so
to get it
weird.
to ship. Yeah. But I know IG-11 is going to be hitting soon. That's another one that I'm looking forward to. And I think that's pretty much most of the news at this point. We'll go ahead and do a final collection update with TC. And it does look like you've got some news to report here, TC.
I do have some news. No, I sold a couple figures. I sold one of my Spider-Man figures, MMS 426, the Deluxe Homecoming Spider-Man. I was able to sell that, and I sold the Death Trooper from the Mandalorian. So just that, nothing major. I mean, if anyone, I put this out on 16 Republic buy sell trade, but if anyone needs an original Mando, I'll just let it go for retail plus the shipping. I don't need to make profit off it. I have a couple of them, so if anyone wants to message me and you don't have the original Mandalorian, I have 2 of them that are sealed. If you want one, let me know.
What a guy, as Zach would say. What a guy.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Chris?
Yeah. I don't have much either. I sold, I had a second Commander Cody. I was going to hold on to it, but our good buddy Raul, who lives here in New Hampshire, he's in the chat. He had mentioned that he was considering getting one, and I said I had one. And so he came over my place and picked that up. So I was glad to see it go to a good home. I also am working on a deal with a fellow scavenger, Brenton P, on my Netflix Daredevil. Decided to move on from that those figures. I had sold the Punisher about a month ago, and then gonna sell my whatever it is, my Toys era. Or no, So Toys, Iron Warrior 2.0. I'm going to list that one for sale. And then also going to be selling, like TC, I had picked up a second Mando Death Trooper. Going to be moving on from that one, still sealed in the package. So again, if anybody's looking for some figures, hit me up. But I'm just looking to get back retail plus shipping. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I've talked about, the pre-orders definitely playing the waiting game from here on out. I had just messaged Ray from Underground Figures to give me a list of what I've got on pre-order from him, just to make sure. And there's a little bit more than I had remembered, plus what I've got from Sideshow. So definitely got to keep things in check. And also, I'm preparing financially for these figures that are coming soon, like IG-11. We say soon. I get that from BBTS. We'll see it in
2023 sometime.
2023, and then some of the other figures. But it's funny because like almost everything I have on pre-order, it's like all grouped towards the end of this year and Q1 of next year. There's not really, other than IG-11, there's not really a ton that is coming out in the next 4 to 5 months. But
yeah, mine's similar. I've got maybe Captain Rex. I think IG-11, Kylo, and Rey, and then it's all the Clone Wars stuff. That would be, probably December. I think is when we'll start to see the Clone Wars stuff at the earliest. But anyways, so very cool. I sold these figures probably like 3 weeks ago. We've been 3 weeks in between episodes. I did my DC fling kind of ended with a fizzle. Sorry, Gare. I had sold my Wonder Woman concept figure that I'd gotten from Pop Culture on eBay. And then pretty much like right after our last episode, I sold my Batman from BVS on eBay as well. So nothing else in the works. Haven't pre-ordered anything. I think I'd mentioned in the last episode I'd pre-ordered the Grogu set, and I'm also trying to be a little bit more prudent and not overweight myself with pre-orders. And I mean, there's a few that have come out recently that are like no-brainers, for me in terms of Bo-Katan or Ahsoka and some of those other things that are there. But we'll see. But that's my update. So it's been several episodes in a row here where things haven't been too crazy, and I don't think that'll change anytime soon. Of course.
They haven't been crazy Hot Toys wise. We don't need to go into the other things.
Mum's the word.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our collection update. And again, if you are just tuning in 50 minutes later, we talked about at the top of the episode that the run of our now 52nd episode this evening of the trio of us, I think it was 50 regular episodes and a couple bonus, so 52. My math usually is a lot better. I'm better at calculating release dates from pre-order dates than I am about how many episodes it's been. But going through some changes with the podcast and TC stepping away and taking a little bit of a break for the podcast here. Well, as we talked about, it'll probably be July at the earliest when we return in whatever form that's going to be. And I think the only thing we do know that Chris and I will still be doing this. I can't imagine doing the show without Chris. We're the ones that started this whole thing, and it would be hard to do it without you. It's already hard. It's going to be hard enough to do it without TC. But I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I said a little bit ago, TC is going to be irreplaceable. I feel bad for the next person or next people that try to come in and to be the reasonable one about it.
I know.
Because that's been reading through all the comments that we've seen through the chat tonight, and we disclosed the news early this morning in our Facebook group, about that, just to kind of let everybody know in advance so that they wouldn't be completely shocked by the turn of events here. But TC, you've always been the most reasonable one.
By far,
the voice of reason usually. You've been the one that didn't do like a ton of crazy stuff like both either Chris or myself did, or you didn't go on a lot of flings. I mean, the one thing that sticks out to me in particular, and you've since corrected it, was the multiple Markells. That was
I still have like almost all of them. I think I have them all. I can't get, it's hard for me to part ways. But that is probably like my worst thing I did, because I thought when I got them, I got them at retail. I didn't pay tax or shipping. It's a $400 tag on each one. I thought they would sell out by the time, in the next 3-4 months after the fact. They're not. Although at the smaller stores they are. Yeah. It's just Sideshow. I don't know what kind of stock they have, but it is just almost infinite. And that's disappointing, because like that movie it really is one of my favorites in the MCU, probably like top 3 or 4, Infinity War. But Hot Toys, like, still, like, it bothers me what they did with that line. They could have been really, really great. Instead, they took the profit and it really ruined the Infinity War line due to supply. It should be one of the most revered lines. It's at the peak of the MCU, but it's not, and it's just sad. But I still like the figures, still have them. So, but I probably will sell a few of them at some point.
Oh man, that Infinity War line. I don't think I have anything left. I think I purged it all. It was unfortunate, and that whole situation definitely put a bad taste in my mouth as far as like pre-ordering everything, like when it first comes out, for Marvel anyway, because we've talked about it, and it's been a major thing of our, using our collection for, to, reinvest into our collection. Well, I mean, if you're selling Infinity War figures, it's not helping.
70%.
Yeah.
Like 70%. So you buy it for 400, it's like worth like 320.
Yeah.
I think do that 3 or 4 times.
Oh man.
Ultimately,
I think when I sold my Mark L after fees and shipping and everything, I think I netted like $280, and it's just like brutal. But there's sunk costs, like Bryan likes to talk about, and but I mean, a lot of those moves, like the stuff that you were doing was very instrumental in helping me with like my strategies and everything. And like you would do these deep dives on the interwebs and finding all these deals and everything like that.
These honey holes.
And yeah, exactly. So, I mean, your application of strategy, was great. Yeah. And I think it helped a lot of scavengers.
And you're not going to win every single sale. Yeah. Like I've made I bought a K2SO for like 270.
Yeah.
Like right after it sold out. And all I did was put it up for auction one time, and it sold for like 650.
Yeah.
So you win some, you lose some. But that's just like natural in life. You always remember more the losses, like those kind of like more than like the wins, because you're like, oh, I expect to do that, and then when you come up short, it's just disappointing. But it all evens out.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line, Star Wars really turned the tables on Marvel, and really still has been like that even to this day.
So a couple of comments that people have made that have sticked out to me in particular. TC was obviously we have to, Dean, Zach and Rainer, they mentioned they're watching, tuning in live, supporting the boys. We obviously are good friends with the guys over at Collecting Weekly. Zach has always affectionately called you a generational talent, and I can't say that I really disagree with him. And I know Robert has mentioned you've got the Barry White voice for podcasting / video. It's and somebody else just mentioned a little bit ago too, like who's going to be the eye candy. That's the big thing. Like I don't think we're going to find somebody, Chris, that's going to be all of these things that TC has been. I mean, to have that sultry voice, to be a generational talent, and the eye candy, like that's a triple threat right there.
I know, it's too generous. Not true, but anyway.
It's like replacing Tom Brady.
Look at this question though.
I know. Yeah.
The draw the line 35. I like this question. Put it up.
All right. Let's see here. If you had to give one figure of your own collection to each of your co-hosts, what would you give them and why?
Oh, man. Well, I know what figure I'd give Bryan. I'd give him another Short Trooper.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Sorry, Elvis.
Yeah.
All right. What would you give TC?
Tough to say. Maybe Mark V. I don't know. You don't have Mark V anymore, right?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't know if that would,
Jetta said, give me a Mark L.
Yeah, I know. I would if I still had one. Yeah.
I have more box, but I would give Chris the Black Widow from Endgame. You don't have that, right?
Nope.
You like Black Widow. So
yep.
I'd give you that one. And I'd give Bryan, let's see.
Winnie the Pooh.
Well, someone deserves that figure, but I'd probably give him my Homecoming Spider-Man. Because I know he's a big Tom Holland fan. And Chris already has Homecoming Spider-Man. So MMS 426 yellow suit jacket.
Let's see here. This is tough. I think I got Chris the easy one here. I think for Chris, because I know he's also a huge Return of the Jedi fan. I would probably gift him my deluxe Luke Skywalker because I know he absolutely regrets missing that one. And the head sculpt on that one is fantastic.
Such a stupid move.
We
I'm not going to get the deluxe this time. I picked the worst.
Yeah, I think at the time, though, to be honest, I don't think either of us really realized that the deluxe head sculpt, the alternate one, was going to be the one to have. Like, there's not the grinning one that's like.
No, I remember that, and I remember that. I got the deluxe. I don't have it, but I parted it out.
Yeah,
you made a lot of money off that. Yeah, I think I got it for like $2 something, and parting it out was like $700 because everyone wants like the individual pieces.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's
that's another thing that we talked about, and we all went through, is the parting out of the figures and that whole process, and we all lived and learned in good ways and bad ways.
That is the best figure in Hot Toys to part out.
Yeah,
double head sculpts, Jedi hilts, like the actual
cloaks
beam. Well, doesn't have the cloak.
Yeah, the poncho
and boots. Hot Toys boots are like you can go to the shoe store and get a pair of Nikes for cheaper than Hot Toys boots these days. It's like $50, $60 that they'll sell for. So it is ridiculous how good that figure is to part out.
TC is tough because obviously I know that I'd have to give him my deluxe Mando with Baby Groot just to make sure that if you had him, like if I was not going to be around anymore, obviously I just gave away 2 of the best figures in my collection. That's how much I got much love for both of you guys. So.
Yeah, I feel like I gypped Chris with the Black Widow.
Yeah, it's all right. You're very prudent.
That's I don't have. It's not the biggest Iron Man fan. A lot of my stuff's Iron Man, so the ones that he has, like I've got
my 3 favorite ones already.
Yeah, I may give you the Hulkbuster if I was feeling generous.
Yeah, I don't know if somebody took over Zach's keyboard here, but
I need to grow the mustache back to.
No. That wasn't the best look for you.
My wife would agree.
Yeah, and Sean's mentioning it. I can't do. I can't give away a Stormtrooper. So, but I was happy to hear that Chris would gift me his. So, but I mean that's not a bad trade. I mean a Stormtrooper for a deluxe Luke Skywalker. I would not make that trade, by the way, which is I would be tempted temporarily by that. But it's gonna be different. One thing that we've always prided ourselves on is again, going back to the very beginning, Chris, where we never wanted to be the best or, like the only voice. I think we used to say like a voice, not the only voice. And I'm glad to see that there's a lot of other people doing weekly, podcast format shows with, news and segments. And, one other thing that I think we've seen change a lot in the last 3 years too, is people that I would kind of more refer to as like product reviewers, like video reviewers of figures and stuff have gotten more into like the episodic content than not before. And I think that's really good to see too, is, there's so much to talk about. There's so many different opinions. I wouldn't expect everybody to agree with our takes all the time. I think one thing that we've always tried to do and come from is more of a realistic perspective, knowing that we can't collect everything, that every choice that we make has real implications to past and future purchases. And yeah, it's good to see. Like I said, it'll be weird to take some time off. But there's plenty of other people out there that are doing better, much better content. I mean, like right now, like one person that just got started up recently, I saw him in the chat a little bit ago, Pete Aries with, Dark Jedi Aries with Sixth Scale Cantina. I mean, I think he's got more YouTube subscribers than we do now, which is crazy. I mean, that's awesome. And you've got, a lot of others out there with far greater subscriber counts, and I don't think we've ever hung our hat on that per se. I am wearing a hat tonight in honor of TC, by the way. So
It's a good looking hat.
Yeah, it is. It's real nice.
Lando, not
should've-
Lando Calrissian, but
Should have worn my Ferrari hat.
you should have driven your Ferrari tonight.
I know. I should have.
I mean, you got the tracksuit, you've got the shoes now.
I don't have the shoes yet, but I have not gotten approval from, the other half. Yeah, I mean, Jeddah, he makes a great point. Another awesome content creator. Everybody's perspectives, are different, and I think it is different. I mean, it's weird, like having from when we started and looking, how the whole Sixth Scale community and Hot Toys community has changed and evolved, and it's just so much bigger than it was, and I think there's just that much more opportunity for people to come up with their own content, and I mean, I think it's great. And every one of these channels and shows has gotten so many more people involved, and I just think it's great for the community overall.
Yeah.
So
and
yeah.
the thing is, like, look, we are fanboys of Hot Toys. I don't like everything Hot Toys does.
Mhm.
I don't like some of the business decisions they make, because I feel sometimes it can alienate some of the older collectors. But what they do is they come through in terms of releasing figures. They hold up their end of the bargain all the time, almost 100%, if not 100% over the years, where they will release what they say they will release. So that allows content creators to be consistent with their material.
Yeah.
And has helped our show grow, because if Hot Toys wasn't consistent, there would be no show. If they went on a run of 6 months not producing anything, even during COVID, they were able to get through
they were
that.
cranking. I mean, there was some lulls here and there, but I mean, they ended up coming through.
I guess we're all like Andy at some point. We appreciate that, guys.
He's even got the papaya orange avatar there. So
there you go.
but they do come through, and that's just, that's a testament. They've been doing this for a
20
decade plus now.
years, yeah.
Oh yeah, 20 plus years. But it really started
really,
kicking into gear like 2014, 2013.
Mhm.
I was like when they really started to move forward. And then even the last few years, they've kicked it into overdrive even more. But that's allowed all this to develop. So really, it's a testament to them.
Yeah, and I think, and we see it. They're constantly improving. They're constantly finding new ways to produce these figures, different materials, different ways to do paint applications, sculpt, everything. And I think.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at you, Chris. I was laughing
I
at
know.
Danny. He was on it for a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, Dan.
Hilarious.
Danny, yeah, I know. I know we all have to, juggle whatever life situation we're in with the other half. But yeah, I think, like you're saying, TC, like their consistency and their constant improvement and everything definitely. I mean, it definitely helps content creators and fans, and like the better product, the more people want to talk about it, the more they want to learn about it. And I think it just seems like the trajectory is going to continue to go upwards.
Well, using that as a launching off point here too, and we've talked about. I never did get a chance to really cover this as a topic, but I hope maybe at some point. But I mean, collecting is an infinite game. There's a self-help guru out there on YouTube called Simon Sinek, Sinek, and he's talked about like even just in the working environment, how like it's an infinite game. You don't have short-term goals. It's more of like long-term stuff. And even with this collecting stuff, all three of us have been collecting our whole lives, various different things. And Hot Toys was the apple of our eye most recently. And even the three of us have moved on to some other, other endeavors as it relates to that. But with an ever, like, I don't see Hot Toys stopping anytime soon. So like I think a lot of you'll see a lot more content creators try to hopefully help collectors navigate, like we have, how to manage expectations. And I'm seeing a lot more content creators talking about FOMO and the fear of missing out now. I think when we talked about it, like, it was kind of maybe taboo, or not a lot of people were talking about that. And you have to really kind of wonder, like, what's somebody joked earlier, we're in the end game now. Like, this is Cap, Iron Man, and Thor walking out the final time to fight Thanos here for the three of us. But I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but I mean, that's the other thing too, is like, this is just going to go on and on and on. As long as Hot Toys is going to keep making good products, and whether inflation or whatnot, and the prices keep going up, as long as people keep talking about it and giving them free advertising and people buy them, they're just going to keep making more and more figures. And at some point, we're either going to be collapsing under the weight of all the figures that we have, or like we have, and some other collectors like Danny have, is you've just got this rotation. You kind of rotate from the bottom of your collection, and you keep things churning, and you keep it fresh, and you collect the things that you love or what's new and fresh. It's never going to be easier to be a collector, especially of Hot Toys, just because of the cost and the space that it takes up.
And well, after you start doing it for a while, you start getting used to the lead times and the possibilities for delays. I have been seeing a lot of newer collectors, getting delay emails and getting frustrated by it. And like, I'm just, having been doing it for 3+ years now, it's just like par for the course, honestly. Some like we saw in the figures that came out, some figures come out super early, some get pushed back, some come in right on time. And you can't do anything about it. So it's just, you got to kind of go with the flow and not you're going to get your figure. It's just, you might have to wait a little bit longer. So those are the types of things that I think, we've all tried to stress to the listeners and everything. But some really good comments coming in.
Yeah. So obviously our friend Robert has his favorite TC memory is the advice that he gave in one show, or not him specifically, but everybody. But I like the comment about making like the advice that we feel like we're talking to each of you, because I feel like that's the goal, is like, we're one of you. We're not above the fray or whatnot. We make the same, mistakes that everybody else does. Some of us more than others, and have more losses than wins when it comes to collecting. But, just talking about focusing, on one thing with Hot Toys and selling off other things, and use that advice to focus himself in on just, Hot Toys. And it is hard to collect multiple things. And TC, you made the point about 30 minutes ago, when you go all in and you're collecting something, you want to know everything about what you're doing, because you don't want to have a blind spot. You don't want to not know what some value is. You don't want to know when something was released, or what the variants are, or just having got to know you over the last 2 years. And like I said, you're stuck with me for life now, whether you like it or not. So it's really fascinating. I've learned so much from you personally over these last 2 years too. Like Chris said about, the adapting of the collecting styles, like, just being able to see your thought process and the research and the detail that you go into certain things. I mean, you definitely can quickly become an expert, whether you might not call yourself an expert or not, on various different things. So
yeah, one quality that I admire is your restraint. You have very good your perceived on-screen restraint is been quite admirable. But because definitely for me, that's been an issue. Uh, buying, hordes of figures in short amounts of time and stuff like that.
That I can do. I will not go out into the store and say, "Oh, yeah, that Marvel Legends figure looks good. Let me buy it." Because then when I buy it and open it, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then same thing happened. Like I bought the Star Wars light box. I told this before on air. Came with a Cos Baby. Well, I opened up the Cos Baby, and I took it out of the box and like crumbled. So like I don't waste around with stuff like
Yeah.
that. But what I do is I go a little hard on a little too more involved on like the doubling up on things, and that's my weakness. And it's actually it's why I can't do. I can't. I'm collecting cards, and like comics is probably what I want to focus on, but mainly cards. I can't do both. Like there's just no way I can put out the money to collect cards how I want to and do hot toys. So I have to make a choice. And going back to Brian's Infinite game, I think I can manage that game a little bit better with cards than I can with hot toys. So it's kind of how it all circles around.
And it takes up a lot less space on your display shelf too.
It does take up a lot of space, which is dangerous.
They cost a lot more, but you can display a lot more of them.
It can be dangerous because, like you said, there's a lot of space. So there's a lot of places for you to put the stuff. Yeah. But
yeah, like we were joking earlier, we could very easily start a Formula One podcast or a Formula One Topps Chrome podcast at this point.
Yeah, because I forget who mentioned it in the chat. They're like, "So what else are you guys collecting?" And I mean, we've talked about like some of our other interests and stuff like that in the past, but like as of recent, like Brian's hat, Formula One, getting into
deep.
that, and
I'm in very deep.
Brian literally, jumped in. It was like the biggest cannonball you could ever see. Anyway,
Roy was just like, what on earth just happened? Like, there's the scene in what was the older movie? I'll date myself here. I think it was Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, and he's at that one part and he's just like, come to me, my jungle friends. And then that's just Roy coming in with all of these newfound fans of Formula One.
It's so funny. Like my roommate in college was Finnish, and he would always watch the Formula One races, and I would just think to myself, like, just why? Like, why are you doing? But he must have been watching Kimi Räikkönen back in like 2012. But I just never considered it like legitimate. I was just so sheltered, NBA, MLB, NFL, college football. That was my thing. But I watched the Drive to Survive series on Netflix, and I know that's not the reality, but it was a great series. And really the what Formula One does better than any sport is it gives you the access. To me, it's the best access in the world for like interviews with their athletes and the drivers. So you can see the drivers, the teams. There's so much background that goes into it, and you can learn so much. It's unlike anything else. And I've just looked for like the last like several months on the thing. And now that Topps, they gave the new products, it's legitimizing the sport in the collecting world. And it's a crazy, crazy cool thing. And all these young guys are exciting to watch.
Yeah, we're going to champion for there to be a 1/6 scale Formula One, line, hopefully. But for me, Roy, out of our council, he's been watching Formula One for a long, long time. He knows it inside and out. And he really was talking highly of it. And over the last couple of years, we've briefly mentioned it and stuff like that with our council, with our chats and collector chats and stuff. But now it's just I really love the sport. The fact that there's licensed product for it is it's encouraging, and it's fun as a collector. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we've got into. But like TC said, comics, like I'm still really big into comics. But I'm into other things too. Vintage Star Wars figures, my Ahsoka Tano focus is always growing and that sort of thing. So I've got some other things. And then obviously TC mentioned, he's into prints. I know a lot of you guys are into prints to fill out a collection and stuff. But yeah, there's just other areas of collecting. And I've realized that I've gone so hard into the 6th scale that I was, I couldn't get some of the other things that I wanted to. So that's kind of the thing. I'm just paring down so I can spread it out to some of the other areas a little bit better.
Yeah, before I met Chris, I didn't even know who Ahsoka Tano was.
I know, now you got her first appearance. Now you get her first appearance.
I do, and that's like one of those things where, like, I feel very strong about that comic over the next like 10 years.
Yeah.
As what it can be, just because of the popularity of Ahsoka, and we're not even she's not even on the grid right now, not even around, and it's like rising. People love Ahsoka Tano.
I know I picked up a second one. I don't have a 9.8 like you.
Which is the variant.
I do have the variant. But I've got, I had picked up the 8.5 CGC at the comic show about a month ago. And then I also have an ungraded one that I bought for $1 at a comic shop. So,
wow.
But yeah, so you guys can probably see, we do like talking about some other things outside of 6th scale collecting, but that's
but I think part of the, just to kind of tie a bow on everything here too, is where we've had the consistency. It's always been about hot toys. So we get complaints all the time about, why don't you guys talk about other 6th scale figures? Here's the 6th Scale Scavengers. From day one, we said it's a hot toys podcast. And just as much as we'd love to turn this into something that's a little bit more generic or whatnot, I think it doesn't fit the roots of what it is. And I don't think it would be fair to the audience that comes here for that, just to have us completely change. So, I think ultimately at the end of the day, I don't think this is, it certainly will be goodbye for now, for TC, and then obviously whatever this show ends up being, I still think we'll at least still make a little bit of a comeback, whether it lasts forever. But I mean, this is where the episode title comes from too. All good things come to an end. Nothing lasts forever. And if anything, I think having the wherewithal to go out on top, I think is a good thing. And I like I said, TC's a good friend now, has been for the last 2 years. And I've got a ton of respect for him to come to us, to feel comfortable to say like, hey guys, I don't want to go through the motions anymore. And I think that is, I think it's a great thing. I think it's a good, personality trait to have, just to know like, hey, like there's other things that will interest me. And we try to have the enthusiasm that we had at the very beginning. And it's just not right there right now, for various different reasons.
Yeah. Great show. And since I know we're closing, and we tend to do it pretty accurately at the hour and a half, I say we're pretty spot on for the most part. As close the show, just want to say thanks to everybody that's watched us and tunes in every other week, or watches us on replay, or is in the group, doesn't care to watch us. That's okay. Sometimes I don't care to talk to you two. No, but no, I always enjoy talking to you guys, and I enjoy interacting with the listeners and interacting with the people that message, and everything that the Scavengers have to offer, because the Scavengers are great community, and we're just a part of it. And this has been amazing. It's been a great ride, and love doing it. I've loved doing it, and I think this is good. It's a good time to kind of turn the page and go on to the next chapter. But it's been a very, very good. It's been an amazing ride, and can't say thanks enough to you two and everybody out there who listens to us. Appreciate it.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
And now I can't do the end credits. It's reserved for Chris.
It always has been. Yeah. We should go back to I don't even remember what our first one was, Chris.
Oh, man.
It was before Stan Lee passed.
I know.
It was May the Force be with you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I like the Excelsior one better, but
Yeah.
anyways, so I'll read through like I'm speed reading through the plug time stuff here. But we've got a website, our TeePublic store. You can still get stickers, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the audio podcast. You'll be able to still find all the archived episodes over the next 2 months on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and sixthscalescavengers.libsyn.com. One of the people that'll still be putting out content was Scott with Parker Files. Just did an awesome collection tour. Thankfully, he got over the hump. He was on a rather unfortunate triple digit number in the 600s. I checked earlier today, Scott. I'm sure you already realized this, but you got over that that repeating digit. So kudos, my friend, and closing in on 700, and he'll be at 1,000 in no time. So, and again, we've always just mentioned that all the other people out there doing great things. Sixth Scale Cantina, Collecting Weekly, Sixth Scale Economist, Jetta, Cletus. Thanks to other guests that we've had on, Danny, Sean Yutzi, one of our admin team members, Uselby. Gosh, who else have we had on? I think that's most of.
Sean and
Did you say The Economist?
Yep.
Pete, Daniel,
Yep.
Cletus.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Good times, my friend. So that being said, we're getting all mushy enough already. And like you said, TC, you're still stuck with us, and you'll still be around, but you will be missed.
That I will.
You will be missed. And I guess the sign off here, Chris, is we'll maybe see everybody in about 2 months.
Yeah. We'll see you guys at some point. There'll be some announcement, I'm sure. But yeah, we look forward to getting back on with everybody. And yeah, TC, thanks so much. And couldn't have been a better host. So
Thank you.
appreciate it.
All right. And for the final time with the trio of Bryan, Chris, and TC. Chris, my friend, bring us home.
Excelsior.